Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to Counselor's Couch 101. I'm Jim Stump. Um, if you want to send us an email, the address is counselorscouch101 at mail.com. Probably a lot of you already know that. If you'd like to leave comments, please leave comments below. I'm looking for the types of issues that are on people's minds currently so that these posts can be relevant to people who want to tune in. So what's on your mind? Share what the kind of concerns you have, the issues you have around the culture, the country, because they're all relationships. By the way, if I might add, um, the culture's relationship, all of our relationships one to each other in the culture, it all starts with the family. Think of it this way: in prehistoric times, right? The unit was the family. The family would grow and then become a tribe or a community, and like that, and then it might become a nation. And everything grows out of a small unit that keeps adding more people as people are produced, right? So everything that's going on in the culture stems from what's going on in personal relationships and collectively, right? So that's why I say if you have issues about the culture you think you want to add here and you think they have something to do with relationship issues, it might be a good item to bring to our attention. Anyway, what comes up often, and it came up recently, is the idea of couples, or let's say one partner in a couple wants to do counseling and the partner does not, right? The other partner does not. So then the one partner comes in. It could be the wife, it could be the girlfriend, it could be the boyfriend, it could be the husband, right? And they say, I want my partner to come in. I want him or her to participate with me in in these sessions so we can improve our relationship, but they won't come. And they say, what can be done about that? Well, the idea is you can change a relationship by changing the behavior of one person in the relationship, and that's how I approach that part of that sort of a request. What do I do? He won't come in. I say, okay, describe the sorts of interactions that are going on that you're not happy with, right? And basically, what we want to do is we want to feed the good angel and we want to starve out the devil, right? So let's see what's going on in the relationship. And I say, give me an example. We tear it apart. We look at it. We see where it can be altered in some fashion or way that to make it more positive. And basically, I tell people when you get negative sorts of comments and interactions with people, simply let them go. Don't give them any fuel to fire, the build up the fire on. Don't defend yourself. Don't fight back. Don't accuse the other person of anything. Just let it go and focus on something that's positive in the relationship, right? Talking to people who've been married a long time, I said, look, you've been married 30 years. It took you a whole long time to build the relationship that you have right now. It's going to take a while to change that, and you have to stick with it, right? Don't expect immediate overnight results. But if we can get you to change your behavior in even small ways, that causes the other person to react in new ways. They might look at you and say, what's going on here? This is weird. This isn't you, right? But just stick with it. Say, look, I just want to improve the relationship. I'm tired of fighting. I'm tired of arguing. I'm tired of disagreements, whatever it is that's going on between the two of you. And say, I'm trying to turn over a new leaf. Just identify it, right? And move on. Don't dwell on the old stuff. Don't dwell on defending yourself. Let it go. And as you start to change your behavior, like I said, the other person will change in response to your new behavior. So that's basically the idea. If you want to discuss these types of things, give me some examples down below or send me an email, long email about what the heck is going on with your relationship that concerns you. Describe it in as much detail as you can. Send it over to counselorscouch101 at mail.com. And let me know if I can use your example here in these posts, right? We don't necessarily need to post your name or your address where you live, what state, whatever. Don't need to do that if you don't want it identified. If you do want it identified, please let me know. I tend to not want to out people, right? But I do want to use examples, and I don't want to give too much information if you don't want people in your community, your family, and neighborhood, etc., to know who you are and what you're doing. So, if you have any examples like that, what's going on in your relationship that you would like to change, specific sorts of behaviors or interactions that are going back and forth, describe that, and we'll see where we can interrupt the old process, right? So that's the deal on that. Um, Small little changes you can make. One thing I told one lady the other day, I said, how about we stop using profanity? Now, people get on my case about that, but I just think it presents a softer, what is it? A gentler, more kinder America. What was that line that some president said? If we present a softer, gentler sort of approach to the other person, that might influence some positive change on the other side as well, right? That's just one example of something that could happen. If there's a sort of behavior or interaction that always causes a problem, well, we're gonna stop doing that, right? We're gonna replace it with something else. So I'm searching my mind here for an example of what's coming up. But basically, the husband comes home, he's tired from work all day. All he wants to do is flop in his favorite lounge chair, turn on some sort of sporting event, and possibly drink a beer and be quiet for a while. And the wife is going, "You're ignoring me. I feel abandoned. I feel left alone, etc. Why don't you pay attention to me?" Maybe the guy just needs to relax a minute after working all day. It's very common. If you give him that time, if you just do it and don't say anything at all, let him have that time, that could affect the change. I remember going back a bunch of years that we negotiated, this couple negotiated one with the other, that when the husband came home, the first 40 minutes of his time in the house was his, right? He could go in, he could change his clothes, he could wash his face, etc. He could sit down, he could read a newspaper. Back in the day when we read newspapers, he could watch the news or a sporting event or just kick back for a few minutes and relax. And after 40 minutes, then he was available to the entire family. That's something that was negotiated with the group that I worked with, and it worked out quite successfully because everybody understood the need of the husband in that particular situation. He'd just come off the road. Well, he'd been working all day long, and he'd just come off the road of sitting in traffic for an hour, and he was frazzled. It's hard to pay attention to what your kids want and the attention they need, and etc., and the games they want to play when your nerves are all frazzled and you just need a moment to collect yourself and calm down and let yourself regain your emotional equilibrium. So that worked out very well. Just that little agreement that was made. Other accommodations like that can be made, right? And you have to figure out what they are. What is causing the problem in the situation? What might be a remedy for that situation that the people don't like? And how can we implement it in your relationship? It's really quite simple when we approach it that way. Simple on those items there. It's simple when we're dealing with items that are not too deep psychologically. A lot of this stuff is relationship stuff. I don't want to belittle it or anything, but it's sort of like closer to the surface. It's easier to deal with. Some things are going very, very deep. Some people can be expressing hurts and feelings of abandonment and anger and dissatisfactions and pains and losses from the past in the current moment. And sometimes we have to go look for those and expose them to the light of day, to look and see what we're doing and why, and then to find a way of accommodating them. And oftentimes when we do identify those issues, the superficial manifestations of those issues often just disappear because we finally say, "Oh, I know what I'm doing. And now that I recognize it, I can let go of it. I don't want to do that to my family. I care about them. I don't want them to suffer for things that I'm carrying around inside of me." So oftentimes that takes a little more work to unearth them. But once they are, then the relationships involved around that issue improve. So these are ways we go about working with one person in a relationship in order to improve the relationship if we can't get all the people involved to come into a session. Or maybe it's a family, or maybe it's extended family, by which we mean, parents and grandparents, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, whatever, nephews, nieces. We get someone to change little bits of behavior, improve them in some ways, and to be more accommodating, more patient, and the relationships change overall. That's just the basic idea behind it. So, if you have any examples of that kind of thing, where you want to change a relationship and you can describe the interaction that doesn't please you, and the more detail you can give, the more likely we are to be able to pick it apart. Often I tell people, tell me the words verbatim. Don't guess if you can help it. Tell me exactly what was said, because then I can find out where to intervene. I can tell you where the things start to go off the rails, right? We want to go back as far as we can to the beginning of the exchange. If someone walks through the door and the partner says, "Hello, dear, how's your day?" and the other person explodes, well, then we have to intervene right there. We say, okay, what is needed in this situation in order to get a better result? So we go back to exactly as clearly as we can, exactly the words that are used and the sorts of things, the dynamics that are going on, right? So I tell people to take notes on that. Record it into your cell phone if you need to make a fast reminder of what happened. People say they'll remember, the thing as it was, and they never do, right? Because once we're removed away from a situation, oftentimes the exact parts of that become part of a mix of things, and they say, well, generally it goes like this. And if I can get the exact words and the exact expression, the exact tone, the closer we get to it, the better we have of solving it. So, how to change a relationship problem when the partner won't participate. That's how we go at it. We analyze it and pick it apart and find out where we can intervene and make a positive change. Just some ideas for you to think on. Please send me your emails and leave me comments down below. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what you'd like to discuss and focus on, and we'll do our best to accommodate that here. Thanks for dropping by. Look forward to talking with you next time. Have a good day.